It's 1:58 in the morning. Your hands are still shaking on the wheel, not from fear, from adrenaline. You've just taken the white flag in third place, two of the fastest cars in the sport boxing you in from both sides, and for exactly 30 seconds, you believe you've done it. Then it's gone. What happened in those 30 seconds, and what allegedly happened 3 days later behind closed doors, split the entire NASCAR community in half. By the end of this video, you'll have to pick a side. This is the story of the Quaker State 400 at Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta, a race delayed more than 3 hours by rain, pushing the finish into the early hours of Monday morning. Ryan Blaney claimed one of the biggest wins of his 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season after surviving a dramatic overtime finish. He had dominated the entire weekend, pole position, both stages, 171 laps led, a performance that makes what happened next even harder to swallow for the drivers chasing him across the final laps. Before we go further, if you're new here, this channel is NASCAR Voltage, and we're closing in on our first big milestone of 500 subscribers. If breakdowns like this keep you hooked till the end, hit subscribe, drop a like, and tell us in the comments whose side you're on. It genuinely helps this channel grow, and your support is what allows us to keep bringing you content like this every week. Now, back to the final lap. It came down to a three-wide battle between Bubba, Wallace, Blaney, and Carson Hocevar, with Christopher Bell giving Blaney a crucial push through the final corners that helped him edge ahead at the finish line. NASCAR's own account had posted the finish with the caption, "What a finish in Atlanta." Before the penalty was even announced, a moment that would look very different within hours. For about 30 seconds, Bubba Wallace thought he'd just saved his season. He was wrong. NASCAR penalized Wallace for crossing the yellow line, stripping him of his P2 finish and placing him as the last car on the lead lap, P29. The rule on record states that vehicles must stay above the double yellow line, and that passing below the double painted lines to advance position will result in a black flag. The consequence was immediate and brutal, a 27-point swing, dropping Wallace from 13th in the standings with an 82-point cushion down to just a 55-point cushion. This particular section of the rule book, the Yellow Line Rule, has been in place since 2001 and applies specifically at Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega, tracks where it has decided races and, at times, ended championship runs before. NASCAR insider Bob Pockrass addressed the wording directly, writing that "So my guess is NASCAR says Wallace violated the first part even if he didn't pass," a reference to the exact language in the rule book that would come to define the entire dispute in the days that followed. Wallace didn't accept the call quietly. His first reaction was raw and defiant. "We're gonna fight it. I mean, did I advance my position? You've seen the race." He went further, laying out his technical defense in detail. "It says, advancing your position, which I did not do. I stayed third, and I was all over the brakes to make sure I did not advance. As soon as I turned, I'm going to wreck, and got on the brakes and kept it underneath me and still ended up side by side." He pushed the argument even harder, insisting the data backed his account. "That move should have propelled us to the lead, and it didn't because I knew it was wrong, because my car did not like that move. I stayed third from entry of turn 3, all the way until 50 yards away when 54 gave us a shot." According to Wallace, his own telemetry supported the claim that he never actually advanced beyond third place until the final 50 yards, when Blaney's car, number 54, found the opening on its own. Wallace, crew chief Charles Denike, and competition director Dave Rogers reviewed footage together before walking into the NASCAR hauler to meet with officials directly. The meeting wrapped after 31 minutes. The penalty stood. Walking out, Wallace offered just one line: "A penalty is a penalty." NASCAR's side of the argument came from Brad Moran, who ruled the penalty wasn't reviewable because it was classified as an on-track judgment call under the rule book. "The penalty to the 23 isn't reviewable." Wallace advanced his position below the line. The rule book itself states, if NASCAR determines that a vehicle goes beneath the double-painted lines to improve its position, it will be black flagged. The core of NASCAR's argument doesn't hinge on whether Wallace completed a full pass. Going even a fraction ahead is enough to trigger the penalty under this standard. This directly contradicts Wallace's claim that he stayed in third the entire time, and it remains the central, unresolved argument at the heart of this entire story. A separate conflict added fuel to an already tense weekend, a pit road confrontation between Wallace and Gibbs, caught on camera and quickly spreading online among fans and analysts alike. Wallace explained his side of the disagreement. "I just said lift. I said there's an opportunity to give, and you didn't." He was like, "Well, don't block me." It's like, "Bro, you hit me square in the bumper. The block was well ahead, you seen it coming." Gibbs offered his own account of the same moment. "I went to tell him sorry because he cleared himself and then, unfortunately, he showed a lot of disrespect. It seems like it didn't work out for him. I tried to help him out there at the end and push him to win." Wallace closed the exchange with a blunt line that summed up the tension between the two Toyota drivers, that's Toyota teammates. Don't race very well together. Reporter Matt Weaver was the one who captured and shared the video of the disagreement, giving fans their first look at how heated the exchange had become. A separate, unconfirmed report has also surfaced in the days since the race, one that 23XI Racing has not confirmed, and one that should be treated strictly as speculation rather than fact. According to this report, an internal review reportedly took place following the penalty, reportedly resulting in a fine and revoked performance bonuses for Wallace, reportedly framed internally as accountability, not loss of confidence. No official statement from the team has verified any part of this claim. If that report holds any truth at all, it raises a question nobody at 23XI has answered publicly. Is the team protecting its driver through this process, or quietly building a case against him behind the scenes? The fanbase has split down the middle in the days following the ruling. One side calls this a pattern of costly mistakes piling up over the course of the season. The other side calls the penalty excessive and inconsistent with how similar situations have been handled for other drivers in the same track sections. Denny Hamlin, both a co-owner and a driver who has been penalized under this exact rule before, has used to pretend there's a wall there analogy to defend Wallace, arguing that drivers can't always see the physical line in the moment of a high-speed finish and that Wallace was simply racing hard for the win, the same way any driver in that position would. Blaney's own reaction to the ruling was brief. He called it disappointing. Amanda Wallace added a personal, human note to the story in the aftermath, saying simply that this is exhausting to watch. The stakes now stand clearly heading into the second half of the season. Wallace sits 13th in the points standings, 6 regular season races remain on the schedule, and his cushion has shrunk from 82 points down to just 55. Every driver within striking distance behind him now has a shorter gap to close than they did before Atlanta. So here's the question nobody in the garage wants to answer honestly. If Bubba Wallace never got his bumper ahead of Ryan Blaney's car, was this really a penalty, or was it a punishment dressed up as one? If you enjoy real NASCAR breakdowns like this, you'll like what's coming next, so make sure to comment your take below, whether you're Team Bubba or Team NASCAR. Share this video with another NASCAR fan who needs to see this argument, and subscribe to NASCAR Voltage so you don't miss what we're covering next.